Thursday, why is the Sammys and Beer podcast on? That's probably what you're asking yourself right now. But we have good and bad news for you. The good news is you get to watch us tonight. The bad news is you do not get to watch us on Thursday because we have other things to do with our lives than be here live on the podcast. So
We do.
we appreciate you all so much for stopping by. This is the Sammys and Beer podcast live on YouTube, Twitch, and recorded. The
It's-
recording is on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
With me, as always, is El Guapo himself, Senor Tomas Rincon.
Hi. I actually have bad news. I don't have anything to take a shot of.
Oh, well, I'm glad you put your time and thoughts into the podcast.
I
We all
went
appreciate you so much.
I went to get my little thingies and they all went bad. So
So how many of those did you drink? Because I think you sent me a picture that you bought like 8 of them, 10 of them.
I think there was 6, and I think I drank 4 each.
2 went bad.
So yeah, I think two went bad. I got my money's worth. I mean, it didn't do anything. It
Yeah.
it didn't do a damn thing. So it's like, okay, the white bitches lied. I mean, if you want, I'll go get pickle juice right now out of the fridge.
You mean like this?
I'll be right back.
Yes, this
Eh,
makes for such high quality entertainment.
Entertain
that,
the people, Matt.
entertain the people. Well, today we are unfortunately going to be talking about scary movies and the thriller slash slasher genre that for some reason you only watch in October, which I don't really understand why it's limited. Like, do ghosts get cold and now they need to go to sleep? And so we just, this is the time. Is it just because of Halloween? Yeah, it's a confusing time for me, and I really don't care for that genre of movies. So, Thomas did force me to watch a few of them. He gave me
You've
some
never
personal
cared for them.
recommendations, and so that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm actually going to let Thomas kind of lead the show because he is the one that wanted to talk about this.
So I know Matt
So-
said specifically that like this is the time everybody watches it. Well, everybody, yes. Me, I watch it year round. I love that shit. I love it. My girlfriend and I watch just about anything we can get our hands on. Obviously, if I went to get pickle juice, I'm gonna eat a pickle.
I went and got a pickle. I went and got pickle juice without eating a pickle, but
Actually, this is pickled jalapeno juice, so it made it hurt a little more.
Oh.
No, I really like scary movies ever since I was a little kid, sneaking watching them when I wasn't supposed to, and it just stuck with me to this day. Matt didn't really watch a lot, it's just not something he's into. So I gave him the fan faves, the most recent fan faves, and we're gonna see what he thinks. And we're gonna talk about some horror movie history. Really go into like House of a Thousand Corpses, Friday the 13th. There's just so many different ways the genre goes. I think it's really interesting, and everyone's afraid of something different. I actually have a friend who is not afraid of ghost movies like at all, just doesn't spook him, but he is terrified of like the crazies and things where it's like real people doing real people stuff. He was even afraid of the Purge because it resonated with him in a way that was different than like horror movies do with more, I guess, regular people. To him, he described it as like that could actually happen, and it scares me,
yeah.
which I get. And we have a lot of good psychological movies too, and then we have like stupid horror movies, which there are a ton of, and those are my favorite because they're goofy and they're dumb. And so we'll talk about lots of things today, but we'll do our shots first. Did you start last week, or was that me?
I don't remember.
All right, I'll go first.
I can go first. I have mine locked and loaded.
Okay,
So
cool. I'm trying to iron out the specific wording of mine. I know who it's going to.
we're doing shots for or against first.
Four first. Again, we always end on against.
Okay. So my first shot is going to be of some pickle juice because they say that the vinegar is good for you, helps your muscles recover.
It's
So
the sodium.
it's the sodium.
That's why Gatorade's salty.
My shot for is the other team, that other football team that I coach. Both of my football teams ended in the last couple of weeks. It's fun watching kids progress and seeing the competitive side in them. And I can remember when I was that age, every loss felt like it was the end of the world. And, everybody says, well, there's next year. There's only so many seasons for those kids. So, cheers to you. Appreciate you guys putting all the effort in.
It's actually cool to see when kids want to win and want to be there. I know, like, my parents made me do every sport. When we played baseball, I did not want to be there. I give a fuck what happened here or there. Just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of baseball, my shot four was going to be for the Texas Rangers for yesterday's game. I actually watched it. That's how embarrassing that was.
They're going to the ship.
They are. And they fucking dominated the Astros. It was embarrassing.
I think I like the fact that they beat the Astros more than anything.
Which, by the way,
fucking cocksuckers.
it's so funny. Like because Texas obviously has several sports teams. You can tell which baseball fan someone is by how ghetto they are. If they're real ghetto, they're an Astros fan, 100% of the time. And if they're not, they're a Texas Rangers fan. And you can see it at the games. Like, you can fucking see it. It's insane. I brought it up the other day, and my mom's like, "Huh, I'll be damned." Which my mom is who I watched the game with.
I saw a thing where a guy was a Rangers fan, and they're like, "Do you have anything to say to the Astros fans after the game?" And he goes, "Well, the only way they can shower or get a drink in Houston is when we flush our toilets up here in Dallas." It's like,
It's pretty rough. But I mean, Texas is such a big state that it's regional. Like, you got regions in Texas.
well, and I mean, you got to with, two big sports teams. Well, I mean, just in that one sport.
Yeah, I was about to say football. We even have more than one team. I don't know about hockey. I don't know.
That would make sense that you don't.
What's that movie? My brother just finished watching a hockey movie recently, and it was the one where they went and won the Olympics. They beat Russia.
Miracle?
Yes.
Kurt Russell?
We just watched it. I would gotta say that got me into hockey a little bit, but I came to the realization I never played hockey like as a kid because I just didn't grow up in a place where it was available.
Hockey's super fun to watch. You grew up in Nebraska. There's hockey in Nebraska.
But it was too late when I was in Nebraska already, and we were poor. Like,
yeah, that I can understand. Like, that's why my kids don't play it.
Yeah, it's an expensive sport. I didn't know. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Like, even if you rent the pads for the year, it's like $100, $200, something like that, just to rent the pads.
Yeah, it's insane, and I think it's something I would have liked as a kid. And as a teenager, I think I really would have excelled in that sport. It's just something I didn't get a chance to do. Kind of regret it.
Yeah.
And I'm bad at skating.
We went up to the local skating ring during winter break and got to play hockey.
That's so cool. I'm okay with skating. I learned how to skate. So when I was in Colorado, I got pretty good at it. So
rollerblading.
My shot four, I never really rollerbladed. My shot four is actually going to go out to the GOAT himself, Rob Zombie. He's the man who kind of changed the genre that was horror when you had things like the Town That Feared Dawn and where gore was in scary movies, but it wasn't like really hit upon. Rob Zombie took that to the extreme, and then that birthed movies like Saw and even like the remake for Evil Dead where they used the most amount of blood like in any movie ever, which we don't have to get into. But this one's for him. He's the homie, and he's fucking weird, and his movies are weird, and I love it.
Made good music too.
Yeah, he's just a weird guy.
Yeah,
but he rocked it and he did his thing. But it's awesome.
That he did.
Yeah. Continue, my friend. Your turn for the shot
All
against.
right. So my shot against is actually a giant glass. This has liquid IV and emergency in it, so it's super healthy for you.
You're gonna
It's
be
gonna
peeing so
hydrate.
much.
To decide which one I want to do. Around this time of year, I'm going to do this one. Well, yeah, I'll save this one. Yeah. So my shot against is to all the people out there that have pets and they call themselves dogs or cat moms. I fucking hate that shit so much that if you want to have kids, have kids. Don't associate being a parent with having a pet. They're separate things. Go fuck yourself.
I had to cover his ears. He doesn't mean that, Bubba's. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. It's cringy. It's weird.
It's super cringy. I don't get it.
Me neither. But to each their own, I guess. It's weird.
No. I'm done with to each their own and political correctness.
It's fair. Um. Yeah. No. It is weird. And like you go to the vet's office and it's like, oh, is this your son? Is this your baby? And I'm like, I mean, this is my dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pick
And
up his
there's
shit.
nothing wrong with having like I have 2 dogs. I love my dogs. They're great dogs,
But they're dogs.
but they're dogs.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's a weird time. It's a weird place. All right. So my shot against is very horror specific again because it is the season. I do like the orange, by the way. I do think
Did you say horror or whore?
both.
Okay.
Fuck, you made me lose my train of thought. Shit. What was I gonna say? This is awkward.
One of us.
I think it's awkward for everyone listening. No,
I'm not supposed to be talking, so it's not weird for me.
I guess that's fair. Well, shit, it's gone. Like it's gone.
You want to steal one of mine?
No, actually, I got a backup one. I might as well just use it. This shot goes to the Astros. Get fucked.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Astros.
fuck you guys.
Cheating bastards.
Half my friends are Astros fans. The other are Rangers fans. You know, now that I think about it, all the white ones are Rangers fans.
George W. did own them for a while.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The more you know. I read his book.
He has a book. Wait, George H.W. or George W.?
George W.
Okay. This. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's still a little. Yeah, I mean, he was the president.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a good book.
I'm sure. I'm sure it was. Speaking of
Well, I
horror,
mean, he was president during 9/11, which I thought was the kind of the stuff that I found interesting.
wasn't
A
George
lot of
H.W. Bush alive in 9/11? The one in... Oh, I have it mixed up then.
George W. The son.
Yeah,
The
the
younger.
weird one.
Yeah.
Have you like looked up quotes by George W. Bush? Like
Probably.
the shit that he says consistently. It's hilarious.
Probably.
I feel like you didn't take it seriously.
I don't know.
Okay, so you saw movies, and I stuck you to one genre, right?
Yeah.
I sat you in it because I didn't, especially with the kids. I don't know if they need to see something like House of a Thousand Corpses. It's got a lot of titties in it. I think I don't want them walking in and
We watched them after they went to bed, but anyway.
So what did you think? I want your
Of what?
okay. Well, we'll go with Insidious first. You saw Insidious, right?
Yep.
What'd you think?
It was okay
Okay.
at best. Um,
It has some jump
there-
scares.
it had, I mean, that's about all that it had, though. Like, there was a lot of plot holes in it.
Yes,
Um,
but those plot holes get filled in the second movie.
let's whatever. Which I don't want to. I don't like having one movie, having to watch a movie to explain the shitty job you did in the first movie.
Well, there's like three movies
And
that they do nothing but
yeah,
patch things up. It is what it
yeah,
is. I mean,
and it was super like. So when I'm thinking of like the evil person in Insidious, the demon or whatever it is that wants to take over the body, like
which
they
one?
made it.
There's two.
There was one main one, and the rest were just people.
Well, no, the ending of Insidious with the old lady.
Oh yeah, well that she was going after the dad,
Yes, and that's what the next movies talk about is that.
which I assumed because that was how the movie ended. Was she took over the dad and killed the old lady and left?
Yes.
No, the red faced demon.
Yes.
I thought that was the dumbest fucking thing.
You
That
mean Darth Maul?
he goes no, but he goes into this unknown area, which then all of a sudden there's a fucking door into this demon's house.
The further, yeah. That's just such a
And
weird
he
concept they
has him
hit.
chained up in there, and then they go upstairs to him listening. Like they're just, it was like over trying to be creepy, like with the music. Let's tiptoe through the tulips, and then he's up there sharpening his fucking metal claws, and I'm like, are you fucking the Predator? Are you a fucking demon? Like, if you're a demon, you're not fucking sharpening metal claws.
Why
Like,
not? It's what he's
because
into.
it's what he's into. Yeah, he's been trapped in there for unknown amount of times. Why is he just now sharpening his claws? What did they get dull on?
Listen, knife maintenance is important, okay?
Yeah, it
Which
was
is
absolutely horrendously fucking stupid that they did that.
it's super interesting to think about the fact that they never touch really on him ever again.
Yeah,
They go in deeper on the spooky lady instead of the Darth Maul demon. I mean, I agree. There's concepts in the movie that I didn't like the astral projection portion, and it's just got a little away. But at least it was given to you in a format that you could kind of understand and follow. Because a lot of horror movies will bring in concepts like this, expecting you know them, and then you're like, "What the fuck is happening?" A lot
yeah.
of them.
Well, and the fact that the dad had this power, but we just quit taking his picture, so he fucking forgot about doing it.
You
That is
know,
the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my
I
life.
think she psychically made him forget, and then they just never took his picture because she would be getting closer if they took the picture. I think that was what they were trying to get at. But regardless, it has a decent storyline where it explains the lady and how all that progresses. But other than that, it's a good one. It's my sister's favorite. And when it came out, it was very creepy, right? Because what's creepy now and what's creepy back then, it changes, and it'll always change. Which is why I typically prefer that slasher horror. Because if you don't watch it to be scary, you just watch it because it's entertaining, right? Or at least I do.
I just I don't find that entertaining
Okay.
personally.
So, and which other two did you watch?
Well, you wanted me to watch The Pope's Exorcist, but I don't have Netflix.
Oh, you could have had my login. Oh
So I
no, you
did
can't.
watch
You can't.
The Exorcist: The Beginning.
Which is awful.
It wasn't a great movie,
No, it's
but
not
it
a good
was.
movie.
I didn't. I think I would. I think I minded less than Insidious.
Which is weird, but okay.
But it was, I will say that there was a lot of stuff that they, like you said, that they just presumed that you knew, and they jumped very heavily early on. But I thought the second half of the movie was better done
Okay.
with some of the twists and turns. Um, but it wasn't that great of a movie either. But
It's
you did
not a
watch
good.
hyenas eat a little kid in front of his brother, so that was fucking weird. And then a baby born with fucking maggots all over it.
It's all about the imagery, man.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
And then the other one was The Conjuring.
Which is my personal favorite. I love The Conjuring. It's very, very creepy, very spooky. I know you might not agree with me, But for me, that is one of the best scary movies I've seen. Not because it scares me, I like it and I like the thought process. And I do like how they don't go really weird and do the astral projection thing or anything like that. They use
It
the
was,
power of God and there you go. That's it.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot more well put together movie.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
there were, I mean, I mean, there's obviously been quite a few spin-offs after it now too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not just Conjuring movies, but I saw there was an Annabelle movie now.
Three,
Um,
I think.
is there three?
I think so.
Um, it's, I don't know. I will say, like a lot of that stuff, like I said, I just don't find it that scary.
hmm
Um,
You didn't find the hide and clap scary? Come on. That's pretty spooky.
oh yeah, when the closet, yeah, or when she's at the top of the stairs and it claps behind her. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, there was jump scares,
Well, yeah.
but I don't know. I guess I don't really care for jump scares.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, I mean, I don't. I also don't like shitting my pants. So I mean, you know, I mean, I don't.
But it's like a warm hug, but just down there.
It's not. It's yeah. Um,
My
but I
my
will say I thought that one was the best. That was definitely the best put together and made. Like if you believed in that kind of stuff, made the most sense.
yes, yeah, and it's grounded in a book that was written by one of the sisters. She wrote the book recording their experience in the house. And it goes into Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are huge in the paranormal scene for a really long time, you
Hmm.
know. So just the history put in and the thought process, they put a lot of money and effort into the movie. So
Oh yeah.
it's really interesting personally, and I love how they like. It's not until like the very end do they show you the monster. I love that trope in scary movies.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a smart hiding, and yeah, it's a smart play with it.
Yeah, like I mean, fucking Paranormal Activity. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know what the
Yeah.
monster looks like, and that makes it scary.
Hmm.
That's what makes it fucking terrifying, and I loved that trope.
It's the fear of the unknown,
Oh
which is
yeah.
the scariest thing. I mean, and if anything, that's what makes those movies scary is just, especially like when those movies are coming out when you know that makes them more scary is you know and you know when you're younger too is I think you believe a lot more of that stuff
Oh
and you
yeah.
can see that being more real.
hmm You
Um,
you kind of believe what you see.
mhm.
And I thought the acting was good. That's the one thing you got to really hit on with scary movies is usually the acting is terrible.
Well, I mean, they had really well-known actors in,
hmm
um,
The
yeah,
Conjuring.
like the dad in Insidious is the same guy in The Conjuring, Ed Warren.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Hmm.
Huh. I just put that together. You're right. I didn't think about that.
So,
Wh-
uh,
Which it's fun to talk about these scary movies and stuff. It's even more fun to like go. So the Conjuring House is a real place, right? Like they wrote a book. It's a real place. You can go and stay there. It's actually not very expensive, which I think is really cool. And they, do homage to the movie and have all the memorabilia from the filming. Like I think it's really cool, and they do that all over the place now. Um, and then of course, spooky stuff does happen when you stay there, right?
well, of course.
It has to. Which Texas has a bunch of places like that, and my girlfriend wants to go stay at one hotel specifically. Can't remember the name of it, where you're supposed to get spooked. That part for me is a little on the lower side of the want to do, right? Like I don't really, not a huge fan, but I can see the appeal, you know. Or like
I can't see the appeal.
it's an experience. It's fun.
An experience. I guess I want to experience different things than
I want you
being
to
terrified.
experience it. I want you to experience it so you're like, oh man, ghosts are real. Here we go.
Go, sir.
Well, let's go stay at a hotel and you prove me wrong.
Just because I don't believe in ghosts doesn't mean I want to go stay in some creepy place.
staying in a sane
Yeah.
asylum.
I also wouldn't want to go sleep in a fucking cave.
I guess that's fair.
Not because I think it's haunted,
Not because you think
because it's
bears aren't
fucking just
real.
creepy. I mean,
It's, I don't know. I've always been interested in scary movies, and I like the ghost, the paranormal, because you can't see the monster. Realistically,
yeah.
that's what spooks me. Like Paranormal Activity 3, you never see the monster, and it's more well done than the first two. And
Well, have you ever seen the movie Event Horizon?
no,
You
can't
should
say.
watch that. It's
It-
uh it's kind of a sci-fi horror movie.
okay.
It's about a ship that's supposed to be like a long distance traveling ship
Mm-hmm.
that went out and disappeared and then all of a sudden reappears. So they send another ship out to investigate it and see what's going on with it.
Oh, that's a cool premise.
And the ship went to hell.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, I could fuck with that. I like that.
I watched that when I was younger. That was a creepy movie.
I'll watch that. Um, actually, now I really want to watch that. I might watch that tonight after you go to bed. Um, and then of course the classics, because I think you've seen the classic scary movies, right? Like you've seen Jason skewer horny teenagers and
Yeah, I
Freddy
mean,
skewer horny teenagers and
mhm.
the tropes. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah,
Um,
Leatherface is pretty cool. And
things like that. And if anything, I would say those movies definitely had their. They came out at the right time. Like I understand why those movies were so popular. Um, back in their day, because I mean, there wasn't the internet in the 70s when Friday the 13th came out. And so you couldn't read about this stuff. If anything, you thought that they were making a movie about something that happened 4 states over.
I mean, the
You
Texas
know,
Chainsaw Massacre, the first movie, was pretty spot on all the stuff that he did.
exactly.
Yeah, and same for
You
the
know,
House That Feared Dawn. Like,
and so that's where I think if I was gonna be like scared of a movie, which those would be the scarier of the movies,
okay,
because stuff like that actually can and has happened.
well, yeah, oh, it still happens probably. Like,
You know, I think if it was happening, I think you'd hear a lot more about it, especially with cell phones and stuff.
yeah, or
You know,
they could have not been found out too. There's
and
that.
that's the other thing with like The Conjuring and Insidious and stuff like that. Like, if something like that actually happened, there would be so many videos and like it would. All my news feed is right now is fucking Mr. Pfizer and Taylor Swift,
It's true.
and so if there
Yeah,
was something really that happened like that, like it would be everywhere.
I mean, and it was everywhere back then. Like the Amityville Horror, everyone knew what that was. There was a fucking movie remake with Ryan Reynolds in it. Like, it's
Yeah.
and what's super funny, the Amityville Horror is super popular, right? It is pretty much believed at this point that it was a hoax.
Oh, I believe it.
And like the house is owned now. The people that live there have lived there for a long time. They're like, there's nothing wrong here. Like, it's fine.
Like
Uh,
crop circles.
crop circles are real. All right.
Crop circles have been proven to be a hoax.
So, have you seen about the crop circles in Australia?
No.
So there's poppy fields, right, where you grow poppy seeds. Poppy seeds have a
Mhm.
certain narcotic effect on people and
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah, they're
S-
heroin if you let them go to flower.
So it's either wallabies, I think it's wallabies or wombats. They will go into the poppy seed fields, eat a bunch of the poppy, and then run in circles, creating crop circles in the poppy fields.
Yeah.
They're real in that aspect. Yeah, I was never one to believe in crop circles. It's just a weird concept to begin with. I think they did a great job with Signs. I thought that was really cool. That's a great horror movie.
That was actually somewhat scary.
Oh yeah, again because you did see the monster until the very end.
Yeah.
Like it was just
Um,
freaky.
which another similar movie was No One Will Save You.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a more recent one, and it kind of gave me some Signs type vibes.
Okay.
Um, I recommend that one. It was had some jump scares. Again, they showed the aliens way too early though.
Mm, hate it when they do that.
But it was, I don't know. I would give it rate it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Okay. All
So I mean
right.
it wasn't, and obviously I think Signs is probably like a 9 or a 10.
Oh, Signs is
Um
a great movie. Just
yeah, Signs
overall.
is fantastic.
There is a
Just
movie.
the little nuances of Signs, like the little girl leaving water glasses everywhere and nobody
Mhm.
figuring out why until the end.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was so
There is a movie that I was on the fence on asking you to watch, just because I know it affected me in a certain way, and it might affect you a little harder because you're a parent. And it's called The Black Phone. Have you heard of it?
it sounds familiar, but
It's set in like the 70s, right? And it hits both aspects, right? It hits the paranormal, but it also hits the real. It's about a guy who abducts kids and locks them in a room in the basement, right? And he eventually like kills them. And there's a black phone, like a dial rotary phone, that hangs on the wall, but it's not connected to anything. And the story follows a kid who's abducted and is being called on that phone by the kids that died in that room, and they
oh,
help him escape. And it's really fucking, it's a really good movie. It's really interesting. I think you would like it, but it's also like they're kids, you know what I mean? So a lot of
yeah.
people, that's kind of a rough area to watch,
Oh
especially if you
yeah,
have
for
kids.
sure.
I know it affected me a little bit, and that's just from having nephews. Like, I can't
Yeah.
imagine how that affects, you know, later on down the road. So like so I was a little hesitant, but it's a good movie and it's well done. I think you'd
Has
like
it
it.
come out recently?
2021 came out
Okay.
2021.
So yeah,
It's a newer
that's
one.
that's recently.
Yeah, it's good. The writing on it was really well done. The characters and everything. I think you might enjoy it. And they really go more in depth into like the psychology of the serial killer too, which a lot of people find really interesting. My sister loves that. I don't give a shit. I never watched the Dahmer show or anything like that. I don't really care for serial
Nope.
killers. Never been interested in that. I like my monsters to be other not human, you know?
I like, yeah, I either like them not human or I like them dead.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You know.
Aliens, demons, ghosts, whatever. It's a little easier pill
Yep.
to swallow. A Blob, which is also a great
The
movie.
Blob.
The Blob.
That that movie was the one that terrified me when I was a kid. I don't know if have we talked
Yeah,
about that?
we've talked about it
Okay.
a time or two. My dad was Jaws. He was terrified of
Jaws.
Jaws.
Yep.
Which for me, I watched it. It doesn't. It never scared me, but I don't know. I still won't go into water if there's sharks. I think that's just common sense,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I just think that's common sense. And then, of
I
course,
don't
we have
I don't go into a cage if there's a lion in there too.
that's
So
fair, especially if
like,
it's hungry. And then we have movies that have been coming out, and I really think this exploded because of Sharknado, right? It's classified under the horror genre, like the gore and the action and everything like that. It's where it's put under. But Sharknado kicked off Cocaine Bear. Slother's out now about a murderous sloth. It's coming out more and more. And if you think about it, the grandfather of all of these scary animal movies was Cujo. And I don't know if you watched Cujo. I don't even know if
about a
you
killer dog, wasn't it?
the killer dog. Yep. Um, I knew a lot of people that were afraid of Cujo when they were kids. Like my mom was afraid of Cujo when she was a kid, but it doesn't affect her to this day. I mean, we have dogs, like it's whatever. But it's weird what you find scary when you're a kid as opposed to an adult. Like I don't get
Well, and
the.
how much of your fears are projected on you by relatives and family members?
I guess that's fair. I don't know. Most of my family's afraid of clowns, and I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't populate for me.
The only thing that scares me about clowns is why people want to dress up like that.
It's like a culture. It's like
That's
there's clown college. Like
yeah, that's fucking weird.
it's a little. I get the thespian aspect, right? Like you're an entertainer, but it's kind of a dead thing, like a
Yeah.
dead pastime. So it's a little odd to me, but whatever. To each their own, I guess. Be a weird clown. Do you know why clowns are now a figment in horror? What started that off? It's
Zombieland.
Nope, it was a real person. A real live person started off
Oh,
the
it
horror
was a
clown
serial
craze.
killer.
Hmm.
Um, I know it, but I can't think of it.
John Wayne Gacy.
That's right.
He started off the clown craze, technically, with
Yeah,
being
because
an awful person.
he was a clown, and
Hmm.
was it?
Just bad person. Overall bad person. And then that sprouted it, and then it really blew everything out of
Oh yeah,
proportion. Which
Pennywise.
Pennywise, the old it, to this day is still pretty creepy. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
it,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
that still holds up. Like
Oh yeah, it's.
I saw it again a couple years ago, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Just like The Exorcist. The
I think I
Exorcist
watched
still
it
holds
last
up.
year.
Did you
Yeah.
did the new one or the old one?
I watched the new one.
The new one's not as I think isn't as good as the old one. I'm not saying that to be a purist. I really don't give a shit about that. It's just the old one was creepier. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of practical effects. The CGI, I get it. It's useful and it saves time and money, but if you get a really practical
Have
monster,
you seen the guy who played Pennywise in the new ones? Bill Hader. You know who Bill Hader is, right?
uh-huh.
He's over talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's crazy how they do that with your eye, because he can like."
Yeah. You could
And
do
all
it
of a
in
sudden
some
he does it, and Bill Hader freaks out and runs away. Which
It is creepy.
somebody just all of a sudden went,
I could do
"Oh,
one eye, but I can't do both.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't
let's
know
see
how
it."
it does that. Oh. So you
I mean,
get
if you're going to talk about it, oh yeah,
gotta rattle them back into place.
yeah.
Um, but I'm a huge fan of practical effects, right? Like that is just chef's kiss because it looks more realistic, even though it's not. Some of the CGI, especially back in the day, is just fucking awful. Like it was so bad.
What about like horror films that are like somewhat specific, like Arachnophobia or The Birds?
So Arachnophobia was really, really well done. I personally think I really liked it. I really liked it growing up, but it didn't scare me. I liked it as a movie, and I liked watching it, just like how I like watching Eight-Legged Freaks. I don't know if you remember that one. That was fucking awesome.
I think that was like a comedy too, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's
Yeah,
and it's the giant spiders, not just the one that could bite you
yeah,
and kill you.
yeah. And they're like at the mall, and
Hmm.
yeah,
That to
yeah,
me was more entertaining. Arachnophobia was a good movie, but at the end of the day, like it wasn't. I personally wouldn't feel that afraid of for my life if there was just a killer spider. I live in Texas. Like
yeah.
there's a lot of them out there. So, same for Anaconda. Anaconda really didn't spook me as a kid either.
What about Snakes on a Plane?
I love Sam Jackson.
I
It's,
haven't seen that one still to the day.
I think I saw it once. It's definitely not a rewatchable movie. But you really kind of have to find what scares you and either steer clear of it completely because you don't want to be scared, which is fine. It's a normal reaction, or hammer into it because you like the thrill. Why do people
Yeah.
ride roller coasters? They like the thrill. It's the whole point. I know I like being scared. I find it entertaining. But there is like a point for me, like watching scary TikToks and it's 2 a.m. I know they're fake. Like, right? Most of them, if not all of them, are fake. But there's still some I'm just like, okay, we're done. Like, I'm going to bed now.
There's also a lot to be said with controlling what you put into your brain.
Yeah.
Uh, with scary movies and desensitizing yourself to some of those, like you were talking like A House of a Thousand Corpses, and some of those extremely gory and um unnatural, like really far out there stuff, because there's some of those that are.
Oh, yeah.
And I personally don't think the fact that some of the, like, obviously we live in a free country, you can make and do whatever you want. but I don't think it's healthy for people to be seeing and exposing them stuff
Probably not.
to some of that stuff.
Um, like a great example is Human Centipede. That is a disgusting movie. Like overall, just no part of that movie is good and is entertaining. It's just gross. And the people
I
that
didn't watch
really
that one.
enjoy, I don't. It's not worth it. The people that enjoy that movie have to like. There's got to be something in there that's not all the way connected, because that's a lot. Even for me, House of a Thousand Corpses is a lot. But yeah,
Um, what was the
ugh.
other one? 28 weeks later?
Oh, the zombie movie, the Rage
Yeah,
Virus movie. Oh, I love those. But I
that
love a good
was,
zombie movie.
yeah.
It's just, I love it. I mean, you're a fan of the zombie topic. I mean,
Hmm.
it's an interesting fact. It's just I like the beginning of a zombie movie. I like the beginning of a zombie game. I'm not really into when zombies become more of a force of nature than, you know what I mean, when people get established and start doing all this stuff. Then I start kind of losing it because then it's about fighting other people, not about fighting zombies.
What about like in World War Z,
That's a difference.
where they make like the mounds of zombies that
They're
are climbing up the
so
walls?
weird. It's so weird. And I don't think that would actually happen. But I mean, I guess you never know.
Yeah,
But I don't really consider zombies as a horror movie anymore, I guess.
they've really kind of broken into their own genre.
It really is
I
its
mean,
own
but you
genre.
think about it, I mean, those were like probably one of the original horror movies.
Oh yeah, the
Night of the Living Dead,
Night of the Living. What's the one with the little girl attacking the parents in the beginning, where they go to the
Pet
mall?
Cemetery.
No, where they go to the mall.
Don't know.
Damn, it's a good one. That's a scary zombie movie. Like that's an actual freaky zombie movie because they're running at you like full speed, full tilt. That's terrifying. Walking Dead, they're walking, so it's like, bah.
I don't know. All of a sudden, in The Walking Dead, like you can see him like 4 miles away, and then all of a sudden, one of them sneaks up on you and just bites people in the neck. So I mean,
I mean, it's
it's
possible. Uh, bah. But like, there's a different fear of like having a zombie walk at me than having one fucking sprinting for me, like coming full tilt. That's terrifying.
now. Would you consider like some of the like War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise?
It
Is that
was.
is that a horror movie?
It was, and the original broadcast was, and it caused a nationwide panic.
Yeah.
It's definitely creepy, like, because you have movies like it, like Independence Day, right? It's almost the
Hmm.
same thing, but it's just the way that it's presented is hopefully different to where Independence Day isn't scary, War of the Worlds is kind of scary, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so you gotta kind of have to go into that. But I will say, like, all these movies are scary, like in their own way, whatever. There is one genre of horror that gets me every single time, every time, and that is Japanese horror. It is, you've heard of like The Ring, The Grudge, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Me and my brother would actually, and with subtitles on because they weren't dubbed over, would watch Japanese horror movies, and they were fucking freaky. There was just something about the way that those filmmakers made them, and like the monsters they made and everything. It is fucking creepy as shit. Those hold a special place in my heart because they scare the shit out of me to this day. The Ring and The Grudge still scare the shit out of me. It's just well done movies. And I kind of feel like, as a society, we groom kids to watch scary movies.
It's almost like a show me how tough you are,
Yeah.
which if you think about it is kind of fucked up.
Well, yeah. So it's like a badge of honor. Like I watched The Exorcist. I watched like your kids with it. Everyone knew who it was when it came
Yeah.
out, and I'm sure their friends were like, "Well, I watched it." You know,
Oh yeah. There was a kid that was like 4 and had watched it.
that's. I mean, it's not that bad, but to a kid, it's awful.
It's not that bad, but yeah, to a 4-year-old,
Yeah, that's too much. But
like
think
I don't
about Goosebumps and scary stories to tell in the dark. We get
yeah,
exposed to horror at a very young age.
yeah. I don't know. I think some of it's good, but I also think some of it's bad. Like kids have strong enough imaginations the way it is. Like planting those evil notes in their imagination, I don't think it's super healthy for them.
I can agree with that. It is definitely weird. It's an observation I made that it's weird that we're so into it even as kids and that it's so readily available to kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I was into it as a kid. What it wasn't because it was cool, it's because it scared me and I liked it, right? Like it's like a glutton for pain.
I find it really weird that people like decorate for Halloween. Like full on like there's huge skeletons,
I've seen
like
those, yeah.
15, like I've seen several of them. Like I can understand if you do a little bit, put, some sheets with a tennis ball or some of the ghosty type stuff, but like some people have really gone all out. Like there was one house, they had a big picture of it on the door, they had like slasher scenes, like blood on one of the windows, they had babies in a dog kennel,
Yeah.
and I don't know, some of that stuff I'm just like, why are we going so extreme with this? Do we just have so much fucking money laying around that we just need to throw it at something? Are you that into like,
And I've met people. I mean, my girlfriend likes decorating for Halloween. She loves it, but she doesn't go that far. Right now, it's a cemetery. She sets up her yard as a cemetery.
which that's like a normal part of Halloween.
Yes, and if there's nothing super creepy, granted there is Reagan, right, from The Exorcist. We did get her the animatronic for Reagan, so that's pretty creepy. I hate having that thing
Yeah.
in that fucking house. It scares the shit out of me. Got to go take a pee, and I turn the corner, and she's. Ugh. But it's what she likes. It's what she's into. So, and then I do have fond memories of Halloween's. Going out, trick or treating, getting scared. But I think a big comfort for me as a kid was I would get scared, and I would go to either my brother or my parents, and I'd have like that comfort, right? Like I'm good because I got these big people with me. And I think that it's just a cyclical pattern when it comes to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of that stuff's interesting to me. I mean, the fact that we do like these corn mazes, like I can understand the corn mazes, but like haunted corn mazes or haunted houses,
The haunted houses I never liked.
you know,
Yeah.
like
The corn maze is interesting though. I like it. That's fun. It's a
yeah, I mean,
challenge.
they're usually not, but
Yeah. But it's still like,
um,
it's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's something different. But yeah, some of the more I'm thinking about it now, the more messed up it really seems on how much we really
Just for a month out of the year, hammer it in. Just and then one night really hammer it in.
basically our goal for the month is to torture kids and to see how fucking scared we can make them.
Like the people that dress as statues in their yards with a bowl of candy in their lap just to scare somebody. I
Hmm.
mean, you get the laugh, right? Which is cool. If you're going out and you see it, you know what to expect. Like it's not a big surprise. Still gonna scare you, but it is a little weird to be that guy that's
Yeah,
so into it.
yeah. You know what I do? I set up a table with the candy bars. I also have a cooler full of beer, so that way the parents that are walking by can have a beer with me.
We give shooters out.
You know,
Yeah,
like yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, the more that we're talking about it, the more weird I am finding the
and it's just a norm.
Halloween traditions.
It's
Well, but it's only the norm because we accept it.
yeah,
It- you know,
Hmm. It's weird. I do think it's cool the Halloween costume thing. I actually love that about Halloween, but I like dressing up in costumes, so I go to the Renaissance Fair. Like I think it looks cool. I think I have a good time. Obviously, people take it to extremes one way or the other, but it gives you a chance to be funny too, like what your couple's costume was last year. I thought that was very funny.
we didn't do a couple's costume last year.
Oh, you were planning on it, the Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Hmm. Yes.
I think that's really interesting. Stuff like that, where you can kind of play off of it. Like the families that do like a huge costume together, like a group costume.
Yeah. Yeah. that stuff can be fun. But like, I don't know. I guess like my kids are going at nothing even remotely scary. One of my kids is going as Harry Potter this year, and the other one's going as a spaceman.
Which is my go-to. I've got my Hogwarts robe. Easiest
That
costume, just fucking throw it on.
that's he needed it for school, and my wife was like, well, "What are you gonna be for Halloween?" He goes, "I want to be Harry Potter," and he's reading the books again or listening to the books right now, so that
Oh,
helps.
yes.
Um, so, but they're not going as these super scary things, and
Yeah. Which, by the way, fun gift idea for your son then. If you want to get him a wand, they sell them on Etsy for like 20 bucks. Handmade, handcrafted, cool little things.
I actually have already carved my wife a wand, and if
Oh,
I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna carve one and get another one.
that's way cooler. That is way cooler. Never
It's
mind.
it's super simple to carve a wand.
I'm sure. Wow.
Like I spent 4 or 5 hours on it
Really?
just to get some of the detail and stuff in.
Yeah. It's
You
actually not a
know,
bad idea. I might have to pick that up. That'd be really interesting.
so
Halloween has its good and bad. I'm always going to be a horror movie junkie. It's what I like.
which I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just like I said, I don't understand the want for it because there's enough bad and evil things out in the world without needing to add to it,
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know. I think also it's a justification of evil things. So my best example here, it's just super funny that it happened in The Pope's Exorcist, because I assume you're not going to watch it now. Um,
I might.
there comes a point where you find out that the demon's trying to, and it's in the trailer, the demon's trying to possess the Pope's Exorcist, right? To cause calamity in the world. That's like the whole point of the demon. In Catholic mythology and all mythology, like that's the whole point, just to cause chaos and misfortune and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so funny that they wrote it in that the Crusades, like the worst thing the Catholic Church has ever done, was caused by that same exact demon doing the same exact thing. Justification
Makes
of evil.
sense.
So,
Yeah.
and I feel like that happens a lot. Like you just have this thing, this creature that is just evil. There's no rhyme, reason, no gray, no nothing. It is just evil. And I think seeing that is a little easier pill to swallow.
Here's an interesting thing that I thought of earlier when I was talking to my wife about these movies. Would you consider Ed and Laura
Ed and
Warren?
Lorraine Warren.
Would you consider them superhero movies?
No?
Why not? They fought a demon.
I mean, there's only two or three superheroes that fight demons,
Yeah.
and they're both
Were you,
in the Catholic Church. And Constantine's not really a superhero. I mean, would you
I mean,
consider Doom
there.
Guy from Doom a superhero? Would you consider Master Chief a superhero? I wouldn't genreize it as like a superhero movie. Either of those.
But I'm saying you easily could though. Like rewrite that story where you know like not you don't rephrase how the story comes out where family in extreme situation calls on the greatness of the wannabe exorcist and his wife, the whatever she was, the clairvoyant. They're going to come in and make sure evil has its day gone.
I guess. I don't know. Because when I think of
They're
superheroes, I think of a certain genre. I think of the X-Men, realistically.
like they're they're like a superhero and it's good versus evil,
I mean, it is a good versus evil tale, for sure.
you know.
That's like the whole point. That's why they had the scene with the Elvis and, all of that. Remember that? When Ed Warren picks up the guitar and sings Elvis to all the girls in the room and like has a big bonding moment and makes them breakfast and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's to personify that they're good. Like really set in the good and all
Hmm.
that. The only bad part about all these scary movies is the dog always fucking dies. The dogs are now
That
black guys. Well, the black guys are now dogs.
well, no. So that's if you were gonna learn two things from watching horror movies like this. One, don't move into houses that you don't know the history of. Two, always have a dog with you because the opposite of evil is good, and that is a
It
dog.
is a dog, yeah, every time.
And if you move somewhere and your dog randomly dies, you need to get the fuck out or you need to get another dog.
I think get out. So if your dog randomly dies. Which, by the way, Billy came back to the house. I don't know
Who?
if you remember me telling you about the outdoor cat we had um, outside. His name was Billy, and then we had a bobcat come by, and all the neighborhood cats went missing because we were in the country, so there were just cats everywhere, right? They all went
Hmm.
missing, so we just assumed the bobcat ate them, which I feel is a fair assumption. Billy came
Of course.
back,
Nice.
so it's cool.
But you even think about it, Signs, dogs died.
Dog died in Signs. Dog died in The Conjuring. There's actually a few other like low budget scary movies where the dog dies.
Um, Hills Have Eyes, both dogs die.
Hmm.
Beauty and Beast,
Now Hills Have Eyes is a spooky one.
that one is.
To mutants
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just that genre too is a little it's brutal. That's just the best way to describe it. It's very brutal.
And the worst part about like stuff like that is it really could happen too.
Oh
Like there
yeah,
could, I mean, that could 100% be real.
and probably has happened at least in
Yeah.
some capacity. And I think that's why I prefer the other movies because it's an uncomfortable train of thought for me to think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see
That
gore.
evil actually exists out there.
I prefer my thing to be make believe,
Yeah.
makes things a little
Well,
easier.
or it's easier to accept if it's just pure evil and the devil, and
Yeah,
as opposed to somebody choosing to be
that
that.
awful.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, Jason is the biggest Revenge of the Nerd story. Friday the 13th is just a Revenge of the Nerd story. First, his mom goes to fuck you up, and then he does. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just it's interesting. It's entertaining. It's something different. Breaks the mold. Breaks the norm. My favorite also is just watching people going into haunted places, right? And sometimes it's too much. Like they're just doing too much. They're being too weird. But my girlfriend really likes these YouTubers called The Boys. They're just, I mean, a bunch of 20 somethings. They're funny, they're goofy, whatever. Um, and they went to the Conjuring house, and it was interesting to see the different reactions because you have like, of course, it's the Mexican dude, firm believer, right? Just like devout believer, and him freaking out the whole time, and then you just up the chain to where there's somebody who just doesn't give a shit, who doesn't care, it doesn't believe in anything, and just the different kind of experiences they have.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And it's just letting yourself be scared. Like the whole spirit box thing. It's a radio that cycles through different frequencies to so the ghost can talk to you. It's like, okay. Or they'll put the cat toys down where if you touch it, it'll go off. Like, touch this if yes, and leave it alone if no. Oh, the answer is no. Or there's no ghost. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they take it too far, but sometimes it's actually really interesting. And I'm a big fan of that. The mystery,
Yeah.
the unknown. Because we'll never know.
You
It'll,
do.
and we'll never know.
We will.
Just
We
like
do.
it's just like aliens. You never know.
We no, we know that too.
Oh yeah, we do now. I forgot.
Like so. All right, but we are at time.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna play Lord of the Rings next, boys and girls.
Lord of the Rings.
Um, I actually did want to have. I like it when we do movies and genre topics like that. So I kind of might want to go more into that. Go into superheroes. Go into action. Like your favorite Christmas movie. Obviously, the answer is Die Hard. But
Obviously.
you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Bad Boys 2, awesome movie. Hot Fuzz, funny and awesome. Stuff like that.
Hmm.
I think it'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for stopping by on our Halloween extravaganza where we talked all things horror movies. We appreciate you all so much for stopping by. We will not be live this Thursday. That's why we are here tonight. And I'm not sure when we'll be on next week, but we will definitely be here when we are live. So we appreciate you all so much for stopping by. This is the Sammy's and Beer podcast. Thomas, any final words for
Don't use a Ouija board.
Don't use a Ouija board.
Yep.
And don't be cheap. Buy full-size candy bars.